Good morning, welcome to a morning review. This is Kim Watson speaking on Tuesday the 28th of July. Okay, looking at the euro dollar first, and as you see, yesterday we ended up with a pretty strong up day. Most of the movement happened through the Asian session early morning, and we then drifted for quite some period, and we ended up in the day doesn't really reflect what actually happened intraday, and when you look at it from a smaller time frame, you see quite a lot of drift and a bit of a push and a bit more drift. So it's one of those days, and it's a very typical summer type trading day. So I don't know if the word summer comes into play with our weather over here in the UK, but we'll call it summer. Okay, so euro just at the moment looks like it's trying to bounce off its bands again. It's tested these areas a number of times, 2 other times there already, sort of giving it a third test here. Now it could bounce from these levels. At the moment it's been putting this series of higher lows in, higher highs, and popped in another high there. Whether this can actually gain some traction and go through, we'll see. Sort of almost favouring the upside in a sense. It did manage to break through the 50.34 yesterday, but ended up closing back below it. And the real case is whether it can close above that area. If it starts closing above that area, well then we've really got sort of the resistance sort of disappears until we get up to 11.97 sort of area. So the picture really starts to change somewhat. And we have got the monthly pivot below us. One thing I'm aware of, we weekly pivot still below us and is untouched, and statistically we often see that hit. So any real sort of sell-off here, I would be watching quite carefully. We've already tested the 50 before, so 34.50s have been tested, and well, prices chopped all over them. But there is a chance if we do start seeing a sell-off that it could run back towards those sort of levels. However, trend-wise, we really should be at the moment probably looking to the upside there, and maybe looking for the breaks of this sort of upward move, maybe up towards yesterday's highs and possibly the R1 and the monthly pivot there. So looking in the bigger intermediate picture, looking relatively bullish at the moment, but there are targets for the euro to get back down to. Now for the UK for the pound today, we've got the prelim GDPs, first of the readings coming out 9:30 today for the second quarter. This can be quite a volatile number, so we may see some volatility around that figure. Now yesterday we managed to end up with a pivot swing put in, so it's a bullish pivot swing, still in effectively bearish territory though at the moment. It's below the 34. There's little in the way of trend at the moment, and this, to me, I'm looking at it and it could potentially easily roll over, but a break of the high of yesterday's candle would suggest further upside, and maybe yet another attack on that 156.70 area. At the moment though, well, again, a bit like the euro in a sense, but not as strong. We put higher, at least one higher low and a higher high here, and well, today is probably the tester to see if we can continue in that mode. Looking where we are at the moment, got under untouched daily pivot at the moment, so this is erring more bearish than the euro's erring a little bit more bullish. But if we do start seeing it pushing upwards, well, it could be pushing up for yesterday's high and the R1. A pullback to the daily pivot, daily pivot and the weekly pivot is certainly a possibility at the moment. It's not been touched yet, as far as I can see, so it's a possibility. But as I say, could be a bit more difficult. I mean, if you saw yesterday, well, even this flatters it somewhat in terms of trend. Well, for a long time it didn't really move anything, move anywhere at all. It did actually start moving more towards the afternoon, in the last 3 hours there, towards the afternoon session, rolled back and then just consolidated since mostly. So as I say, a slight bearish hint towards that daily pivot, but if it does start rallying, well, it may just go with the euro and push on. Dollar yen. Okay, most of these currencies, they really saw strength. Effectively, we saw the dollar being sold relatively yesterday, and as you can see yesterday, this is a dollar yen, so the yen's moved down. It was a yen strength. Back towards that 50 now. It looks like it closed pretty much on the 50, suggesting that, well, that 50 is holding at the moment. But again, with this market, you've got a series of We got a lower low, and that's a lower high there, and you'll see yet. But it's certainly tracking in the sort of direction of sort of seeing the weaker dollar at the moment potentially. This is just run into its 4-hourly 20. It's short term on the hourly there. It's just put a higher low in, which is just a marginal. It's not. I just find it so difficult to read sometimes in terms of the chop that we often see through days. Yesterday it drifted a little bit more and carried on drifting, to be fair, and will certainly do stronger. But in the main, it can often end up in chop, and it's not one I'm looking to trade too much. So there's little to say there really at the moment. The Aussie dollar on the yen, Aussie dollar, a bit of a different case. Ended up with a graveyard doji yesterday on the dailies. So far we've seen a shove up already towards that weekly pivot, which it just couldn't hit yesterday. Still hasn't hit it today by the looks of things. It's just within a hair's breadth. Okay, there we are. It's pretty close to it at this juncture. To me, it's broken out and made a new low through this trading session. Today's trading session could push up towards a weekly pivot, and if we see the rest of the markets running up, yes, it will probably go with it to some degree, but I have to remain bearish overall on it. So unless there's sort of bearish signals, I'm not really going to be looking to trade it for now. Okay, that's it for me. As I say, news-wise today, really the most significant news this morning. There's the UK GDP figure at 9:30. And then later on, we got some very light news, US flash services PMI, which is not much of a mover at all. You probably won't even notice it coming out. 3 o'clock, we got the US consumer confidence. Now that might chip a little bit we may see a little bit of volatility around that now as the focus on the potential increases of interest rates there increases. So that's it for me. Hope you have a great day. Bye for now.